coming to the orientation, and thank you for spending the time to come here. But first, I would like to introduce myself. I think I know a lot of parents, and a lot of parents knows me already. Okay, so here I'm laoshi. I'm from Taiwan. I have many experience of teaching Chinese, and this is my 5th year teaching here, and love first grade. I think first grade is my favorite one. If you want me to go back to GRUI teaching the college students, I'll probably hesitate because I love first grade so much. Okay. And the reason why I wanted to have an orientation tonight is because first, I would like to help you to get an idea about what Chinese program look like, especially in my class. And second, I want to help you understand the nature of Chinese. And the third thing, I hope we can work on a plan or to help your child to be successful in my class, even for the whole Chinese immersion program. Okay. So for me, I really think that the Chinese immersion program is like an accelerated program. And here's the reason why. Because for the regular English class, they have 16 kids. Okay, but for our class, Mrs. Webster this year have 22 students. I have 21. So that makes that we have 43 students that we need to teach and focus. It is like 2.5 times their size. No. Okay. And for half a day when they teach math, I'm actually need to teach math and Chinese. I also need to teach math in Chinese. Okay. And we're using a new textbook. It is called Bridges. This is our 2nd year. But from last year, I realized that actually Bridges is really a language heavy program. The kids need to use a lot of English to express their understanding about math concept. But for our class, they don't have that ability yet. But to make this one even difficult, to make the math even more difficult, is that we have different test platforms we're using Immersion. So we're going to learn from Bridges, and they have limited ability to express in Chinese, and they're going to test another platform. So it's going to be add a lot of extra work for our kids. And the biggest challenge is actually Chinese is a very difficult language. So I've asked my husband, he works at BYUI, so he has a lot of experiences in learning Chinese learning, which I don't have because I'm not a native speaker. Right? Okay. Thank you.
Supposedly she thinks the white guy knows more about Chinese than she does. But here it is. Chinese is actually a rather challenging language in terms of all of the languages in the world. If you go to the next slide. So there's the US government has a council for learning of foreign languages, and with that, they rated all the languages in the world in a 4-category system, right? So Spanish, French, all the Romance languages are going to be a category 1. Chinese is a category 4. Keep going. So what that means is if I want to get to a level of proficiency in Spanish, I need to spend about 500 hours. This is what they rated at. After 500 hours of actively learning Spanish, I can be at a decent level of proficiency. To get to that same level of proficiency in Chinese, you need 2,200 hours. So it's 4 times the effort to get to the same level of fluency. That's what it means. So the more time you spend, obviously the more fluency is improved. Some of the difficult things are tones. The 5 tones and the accents are hard for students. You know, when you speak Chinese, because it is a tonal language, sometimes saying the wrong tone makes it into a different word or a different meaning, right? So there's one sentence, I'll say it for you, and you can see if you can hear the difference, okay? So this is an entire sentence, verb, subject, object, things like that. It says, 鱿鱼有余 鱿鱼鱿鱼 鱿鱼鱿鱼. That's the sentence. And it means because there's a fish that is better than the squid feels depressed. And if you know the tones, you understand that. But if you're like, yo, you, it's like, no, I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about you, right? And so it gets really ridiculous sometimes. So the tone, super important. Pronunciation, obviously, very important as well. Okay, next one. And then another one another aspect of Chinese that makes it super difficult is it's character based, right? So we have all these characters on the board. If you don't know this character, there's no way to look at it and say, oh, I can sound it out, or Hooked on Phonics works for me, or something like that, right? It's just, there's nothing there. It's just either you know it or you don't. And so there's a lot more memorization, which at this age comes quickly for students if they consistently practice, right? Okay, keep going. And then I think the biggest thing is when I teach at the university, I'm always trying to train students on here's actually how you learn a language. Because as Americans, honestly, we don't do a very good job, right? It's like we don't have a lot of foreign language channels on our TVs. We don't have a lot of foreign language influence in there. It's not like the immersion program is one of the best things that we've been doing in terms of trying to up our game in the foreign language area. So here's how it works. When your kids were younger, from the time they were born to about 2 or 3, when they started forming some sentences, they weren't speaking a whole lot, but they were getting a lot of input, right? You were speaking to them, your spouse was speaking to them, siblings were speaking to them. And so really listening is a lot of input equals a little bit of output. And you've seen that in your own children with English. It's the same thing in Chinese, especially at this age. So the more they can listen to Chinese, the more that they can absorb it, their accent will be better, and when it clicks for them, they'll just start speaking naturally, and it'll be a really cool process. Here, push it again, would you? So, just to give you kind of a concept, if we had 100 units of input, like they listened to 100 Chinese songs, then go push it again. Maybe they'll have 5 to 10 units of output. So it's a disproportionate thing. They just need a lot of input to help them to start to form that foundation in their mind. And actually a foreign language is learned in a different section of your brain than your native language is. So just a really quick story. There was another professor at BYUI. One of his students got into an accident and had hit his head or whatever. He was in the hospital down at Irmac. And the professor said, oh, maybe I should just go visit him, see how he's doing. He was walking in there, and there's some lady standing in the hallway. And he's like, oh, is this so-and-so's room? And she's like, yeah, who are you? And he's like, oh, I'm his Spanish professor. And she's like, it's about time you show up. And it was kind of a weird greeting. So he's like, what's wrong? And she said, he hit his head, and now he can only speak Spanish. Like, he didn't understand English, he didn't speak English, it's just that part of his brain got ruined for a while. But then his Spanish was still there. So it's a different section of your brain, and it just takes a little bit of time to develop it, just like the native section of your brain does. So with that, maybe just an easy concept, piano learning, musical instruments, or some sort of sports. It's a skill. You have to practice it over and over again to get it done well, and Chinese acquisition is exactly the same. So if you would send your child to a piano class and say, oh yeah, just learn for the teacher with like 30 minutes a week, and then you don't need to practice at home, you'll be really good. You know that's not going to work with piano or with sports or anything, right? So it does require some practice at home to really up their game and solidify what they're learning in class. I think that's it.
So the concern is that actually the kids don't pick up Chinese easily. They need a lot of practice. And some parents share their worries with me that they don't know how to help their child with their Chinese if they don't know how to speak it. So I made it really easy for you. So so it's easy for you to help your child to practice Chinese at home, okay? So in my class,
But just there's more room up here.
okay. So in my class, for the first 6 weeks, we're going to focus on learning the numbers, colors, animals, fruits, family members, shapes, and the classroom instructions in Chinese. So there's a lot of vocab they need to learn, okay? So I'll be sending you YouTube videos to your emails based on what we covered that week. So your child can review the specific content. For example, like if I'm teaching colors and animals at that week, I'll send you this. So you only need to focus between these two instead of the others. Now maybe next week I'm going to teach fruits and family members. I'm going to send this targeted content to you. So it will be easier for your child to practice. Okay? So these will be the videos look like. Okay? And after the first parent-teacher conference, we're going to dive into Mandarin Matrix. Mandarin Matrix have 10 units, and each unit has 3 books. But in here is our Mandarin matrix books, okay? So I can just pass it down, maybe you can just have an idea of what does it look like, okay? But, okay, but I want to show you what does Mandarin matrix look like online. Okay, so. So let's listen to this, okay? So this is what Mandarin matrix look like online. So you can click here, then you can listen. And then you can click here, so there's English translation, okay? So the kids can keep click. And there's some books you can have the interactive ones. Okay, they can just listen. You can find the English one, but they can also go to this one and they can do the interactive games with this one tool. They can just drag. Okay, and the other one, they can just learn. What does this picture mean? Okay, or they can learn how to write. Okay, they can say, I want to learn how to write. So, kind of fun for the kids. Some of the is that they can record their own voice speaking Chinese. So a lot of kids like to do this because when we play this in class, they'll say, "Oh, that's my voice. That's how I say it. It will be fun for the kids." Okay, but as you listen to this, you can see that it is really fast. It's really fast for the first graders to learn. This is the first unit, first book, and this is that fast. So I made my own videos, so the kids can actually 敲板, so they can mimic my sounds.
你可以和我玩吗？
你可以和我玩吗? So the kids can
可以。
so the kids can actually follow my videos and then practice it slowly at the beginning. Okay, and so this will be Mandarin matrix homework look like. Okay, they can either do 10 minutes of practice at home, or they can do 2 minutes 3 times a week, or 20 minutes a week, or they can choose watch videos. Either way. Okay. So I'll send home the practice record. So they can write down the minutes they practice, and when they can bring it, they need to bring it next Monday. When I give them the check mark, they can get a thumb down for their hard work as a reward. So they really like to do this. Okay. And next one, we also have a Chinese characters flashcards. As you can see over there, those actually the school districts require students to take at the end of school year Chinese proficiency test. And this is going to be our test. This is our test look like. So it's about more than 100 characters. They're all from those Chinese characters they're going to learn. So this is going to be like this. They're going to take this home after each unit. And I recommend then you recommend the kids just to put them on the wall so they can have easy access to practice every day. And this is also for the test. Okay. Okay. So the parents only need to remind your child to use this sort of resource to practice at home. So it's easy for you to help your kids to practice Chinese at home. Okay. So about math homework, sometimes I'll send Bridget's homework home so the kids can understand the math concept in Chinese. And imagine that, I think we can talk about more during the first parent-teacher conference. Okay. So we actually have a shorter Fridays, and we really have a lot of covers. So if the kids are not catching up, I can actually have recess time policy. I'm going to keep the kids in during the recess. so I can help them individually. And as you notice, actually my classroom is different from other classrooms. I don't have a sink, so it will be nice if you can remind your child to bring a water bottle so they can keep hydrated. Okay. Okay. So today we talk about what language learning and Chinese immersion are going to be like for your child. It is a collaborative effort for all of us. And Chinese practice is essential. It is key to successful in the immersion program. And I would like to draw a chart to show you what it looks like. Okay. So. So for the kids who practice Chinese, when your child learns Chinese, they are going to make progress. Okay? And they're going to make progress. But when they go home, they usually forget a lot. Okay? But if they practice at home, even though their memory is still not fully recovered, but there will be some help. Right? When they come back next day to the classroom, they're going to learn more. And because the review is going to help them to learn more. And they go home and they forget. And then when they come back, if they practice, they can go into bring back a little bit. And it's easier for them to learn. Then you will be a pattern like this. But you can see they are making progress. But for those kids who seldom practice, I can see that they're learning, but when they go home, they tend to forget, like the same thing. But if they don't practice at home, what I find out is that it's hard for them to retrieve their memory and learning the same thing at the same time. So the progress will be limited. And they go home and they forget. And they come to school, they struggle. And they go home, they forget. So even though they still make progresses, but you can see that by the end of the school year, there is going to be a big gap between this. Alright, so actually the purpose of this orientation is to help you remember that. Because every time toward the end of the second class, I can see the kids are struggling because they seldom practice at home. Okay, so I hope that this year we can have a successful year, and we're going to help our kids to have a habit that they can practice every day. It's going to help them to be successful for the rest of the Chinese program. Okay, do you have any questions? Yeah, I hope this can help you to get an idea what is going to happen in my classroom. Okay, thank you. If there's no questions, we can just go to Mrs. Whipper's class and just get things finished. Okay, thank you.